So we've arrived at Nouvelle Sainte-Vaast, and this is a monument to the fraternisation that occurred between the soldiers of the lines on the 10th of December 1914. Now this is, as it states, this is not an exact spot of where it happened, but it does say that it happened close to here, so that's why they put a monument up for it. And it looks out across the lines. Vimy's over in that direction, just over there, and you can see the church monument there to Mont Saint-Eloi. There was an artillery position up there during the war, and these are the figures here. You've got the Tommy, the German soldier there, and of course next to him the French soldier there depicted. Also the idea that they played football as well as exchanging gifts together, chocolate, biscuits, drink. And I bet England still got beat at the football. Nice little reminder to let you know that if soldiers had the choice, they wouldn't fight a war. It's just the politicians. If I zoom in now, you'll see Mont Saint-Eloi. Now this abbey was destroyed during the revolution, but it is a beautiful monument, and obviously because it was a high ground there was an artillery position up there. There's also a few Commonwealth war graves up there as well. Thought it'd be good just to have a nice silent pan around the actual size of the cemetery before I talk a little bit about it. In 1916 this was used as a Commonwealth cemetery where they first started burying the dead here. The cemetery has since then been built up from other cemeteries. They've moved their dead here, and it now holds over 7,000 Commonwealth soldiers. The area here was in the background there is the church, which is Abbey, Saint Nazaire. The Germans held that high ground up there, and they also held the village of Souchez, which is just down here, and also Vimy, which is also just to the back of us. And the Germans held all of that area. The French fought to capture the land up there at Abbey Saint Nazaire, costing them over 100,000 soldiers it cost them, and the Germans lost, I think it was 88,000, and then they took the land, and it was the Canadians that took Vimy. I was just about to say, can you hear the bullfinches? And then a big wagon goes roaring past. If you listen, just barely hear them calling. There. Hear that? My favourite finch. Interesting fact. That's why the ashes scattered here. This is inside the ruins of the old monastery from Abbey Saint Nazaire. Now this was a German stronghold. They turned the whole town into a fortress until the French came through and they managed to smash their way in. You can see actually on the walls as well, all up the sides there's all the remnants and scarring of the violence that went on here, the massive bullet holes and explosions which are imprinted on the masonry work there. One of the interesting things about this area is as well is there's also bits of time which have been basically locked in. The stonework is quite soft, so some of the soldiers actually scored their names into the brickwork, and it's still there today, so we'll have a look at that. But this is obviously another scene of a ferocious battle, and the French decided that they would leave this as it was in 1920s. I think 1923 they decided to leave it as it was, as a constant memorial to the abomination of war and what it does to communities. You see the sheer impact now from all the bullets and the shell fire all against the brickwork here. And the same, look, all against there, up there. There's one there that I'm trying to make out. It looks like it's, you know, the shape from, could it be Royal Irish? Some of the graffiti goes obviously back before the First World War. There's one there which is 1902. All the front there, all the where it's all been hit. W. Blankney, Carlisle. There's one there which is that looks like 1940. There. So here's an example here. So you've got someone, P.S. Vimy, 23rd Canadian Field Artillery, Toronto, Canada. 21st of the 1st, 1917. There. Another one here, which it's barely readable, but WAP age, which unfortunately is not readable anymore, but Toronto. Lauren, 26th of 4th, 19. Yeah. There's quite an elaborate one there, you know, with the writing, very eloquent. Here's some more. There's one there, J. Pole, 94th Royal Field Artillery, J. Bonefield. There's one up there, look, E.N. Bird, and that says PPCLI, so I'm guessing that is the Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry. I'm not 100% sure. Here you've got other graffiti, which is not necessarily anything military whatsoever, but you've got 4th of the 8th, 1949, Dupont. The neater the writing, the older the graffiti tends to be. If you look up there, look at that, how intricate that is. 1904. So it looks like Eugene. Hmm. 1930, 1928. The birds mobbing a kestrel there. None too happy about that. I think it's a sparrowhawk, I'm not sure. Today's all been about raptors. So here we are, Vimy. See, the artillery absolutely pounded the area, so it was almost, well, unrecognisable. So they've left some of it as a permanent reminder to this massive bombardment before the Canadian divisions went in to secure the area. And this is a new area to when we were here. There's a memorial site here, and the flag over there, a young lady who works for the association, she was struggling to put it up, so me and Polly were just walking down this track here, and we did our good deed for the day, and we assisted her and held it while she fastened the flag up. They were putting all the flags up ready for the memorial of remembrance, which is going to be happening in a couple of days' time, which is the 11th of November. So we were happy to do our bit. But it's nice to see Vimy again. It's a beautiful memorial, even though it does stand for a terrible thing, but it's beautifully crafted. It's a stunning piece of architecture. There you go, Dan. Let's go find your great-grandfather. He's in IF 29. So let's see. IA C D F. So I've found the graveyard of Jack Kipling, who was the second lieutenant in the Irish Guards, and he was killed on the 27th of September 1915, and he was aged just 18. He was the only son of Rudyard and Carrie Kipling. So I just put this down for him. a very good film actually, with Daniel Radcliffe playing the part of John Kipling. It's free on YouTube, it's well worth a watch. It's just called My Boy Jack. Have you news of my boy Jack? Not this tide. When do you think that he'll come back? Not with this wind blowing and this tide. Has anyone else had word of him? Not this tide. For what is sunk will hardly swim. Not with this wind blowing and this tide. Oh dear, what comfort can I find? Not with this tide, nor any tide, except he did not shame his kind. Not even with that wind blowing and that tide. Then hold your head up all the more, this tide and every tide, because he was your son you bore, and gave to that wind blowing and that tide.